All right, well, here we are at the Magi Fest, and as you can see, we got masks we have to wear. So I've got my mask that I brought, and I'm all ready to go. And let's see, someone else is fixing in. Got it. And we have also received our information. This is kind of cool. We're supposed to wear our masks throughout the hotel, but while we're talking, I think this ought to be fine. While we're here, because we're doing something that's called a little bit different, it's called the University, that is Magi Fest University. This is the first time that they have done this, and he said probably the last time, in which you're going to pick your curriculum or which activities that you want to go and see, and because there'll be like 2 out of 3 that you can go and see and hear and learn from. Andy said Andy Gladwin was saying we're trying to make sure, I guess, the things were different enough so people could make a choice, but didn't feel like even though you're missing something, that you're not missing something, if you will. So, in other words, like if they're talking about mentalism and another class talking about children's magic, the two are kind of mutually different. So, Gino, okay, good. Thank you, Gene, for Protus saying the stream is fine. So again, I'm not able to see posts, perhaps, that anybody is able to put in here. I'm not sure quite how to do that. It's my first time of using Facebook Live for this. But I was going to say, this is what we've got, kind of like a textbook. So this is information about Magi Fest, and you can see it says Magi Fest University, and inside there is information about the performers and what it is they're going to be teaching, talking about, some of the tricks and everything that are already in there that they'll be going over. There's something from Caleb Wiles, and you've got Jason England and Garrett Thomas as outline, Pete McCabe and Ken Weber, and then of course, as you normally would have in something like this, where you would be able to write your own notes in the back of the guide then too, so your own notes. One of the things also that they had available if you wanted to do something a little bit extra, and that is to get a t-shirt, sweatshirt. So I did. I ordered a sweatshirt. So I've got a Magi Fest University from Columbus sweatshirt, official thing from there. So it is going to be kind of cold, and it is kind of cold. In fact, it was snowing earlier today. I think the temperature was about 27 degrees. It's warmed up a little bit. Still overcast skies, but as we look outside, most of the snow is gone. I'm going to turn this around so you can kind of see a little bit how this looks outdoors, and you can see there's some of the snow that is that's out there, but for the most part it's just chilly but not frozen tundra yet. And so there she is. Hey, Jania. Okay. Finally, after all this time.
I know. We're at the Magi Fest.
They're here.
You're not on, are you?
Yes, we are on. Actually, I wanted you. Here's a microphone, so you're going to be able to talk to. You want to order first and then come back?
I can't talk about a martini.
Exactly. That's kind of the way that I am.
Hey, Scott. We met the last time.
We did. You were here last time when we sat over at the bar last time. But because your tag is on backwards, which is why you don't. I know, Hugh. You need one of these, which of course you see that keeps your tag from spinning.
Oh.
So that's the idea.
Well, I don't want my bed to spin either.
Yeah. So that keeps it straightforward the way that tags are supposed to be. So yeah, grab a drink, come on over and join us, and we're going to talk also then over here with a couple of other guys over there. Rick Herbert and Jackson are going to chat with us for just a minute while you're getting your drink, and then come back over.
When we're drinking and eating, we can take our mask off, right?
That is correct.
Yes, that's why we come here.
That's why we're drinking all the time.
All right, I'm doing just fantastic. I'm just doing really great, Hugh. It's good to see you then as well. Yeah, like I said, so it's last year. Yes, I have been surviving throughout the last year, and so tell me here. Hang on to that. Tell me about what you've been up to. What have you been doing this year?
Really? Not a lot.
Not a lot.
I'm sorry to say. No. As I say, I'm surviving. That's the most important thing. Fortunately, I've got a full-time job.
Now, have you been? Somebody is trying to chat with me over here. What is that? Sorry, I'm using Facebook Live for the first time, and I think I've been having some other
issues.
technical issues. I think everyone is able to get us, but I'm just trying to make sure that I can get some messages. So okay, I am getting this. So Mark Zachariah just texted. So thanks. Yes, I'm glad you're getting it. Thanks for posting that picture. We got it. Hugh, so you said you've been kind of surviving. What does that mean? Have you actually been doing like some magic? You've been doing reading? You've been practicing new tricks, or what have you been doing?
I just started back up my local bar restaurant back again. I've been working there for the last 12 years.
Yeah,
Though they, because of COVID, I wasn't doing it.
they were closed down.
Yeah, they were, you know.
But have you been practicing anything new so that way when they reopen that you'll?
Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of new stuff that I'm using.
Yeah.
You know, old stuff for everybody else, but new stuff for me. You know.
What has been one of your favorite books or tricks or something that you bought during this last year that you are looking forward to practicing or doing once we get back out there again?
I don't know. I couldn't say. I like all of them.
Have you bought a new book? Do you have any new books? Did you get the Sawing book by Caveney or anything? I mean, a lot of new books have been out here then of late.
I haven't. I'm a loser.
A loser.
No. We were at Colin. That was.
Yep.
That was a cool thing.
That was the first one out of the chute this last year, yeah.
Yep.
Colin at the Magi Fest,
Yep.
At the Abbott's Get Together
Yes,
was the first one that kind of opened up everything,
Yep.
and everybody seemed to be doing fine. There weren't any, it wasn't a super spreader event or anything, you know?
No, it wasn't. Believe
Yeah.
it or not. No, I didn't get it. I got it at Christmas.
Did you? Okay.
And I got it through my regular work. Someone at work.
Was it the Omicron virus or what?
I don't know which one it was.
But
it
was
was
it-
mild. It was a mild. I mean, the only thing it's lingering on
Yeah.
is I get the chills. You know, like I could be in a warm room and
Still
suddenly
be-
I get the chills.
Yeah, well, we're getting old. You know, I think it could be something to do with it
Speak for
too.
yourself.
Yeah, I'm getting old.
I'm only kidding.
So yeah, but it wasn't really severe
No,
symptoms
it
that you got.
wasn't. No,
So you didn't go to the hospital or anything. So I'm
No.
assuming, obviously, by being vaccinated, you know, you don't get as bad of symptoms or
Yeah.
bad of, yeah,
I think that's what it was.
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. Well, that's what I've heard. You know that, and coming here, they do have to show that you have either gotten a negative test or recently within 72 hours, or you have to show your vaccination records and everything, and then they'll allow you to get your badge.
That's what I got.
Yeah, yeah. So who are you looking forward to seeing at this convention?
Oh,
I mean, who'd you sign up for? What do you really want to do and see?
everything. Oh, there goes somebody's calling.
I thought you just wanted to take a selfie picture there.
Darren Ortiz.
Darwin Ortiz is going to be the guest of honor.
We had a good time the last time that we were here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. We had the last time was Steve Cohen.
Yep.
You know, and that was only like 4 months ago. It seemed like yesterday. You know.
September. It's like, oh, back round again.
Yes. Yeah. And this is they limited the registrations to 500 people, and I talked with Joshua Jay, who had said they've capped out at that, and they're don't know how many at the last minute might cancel.
Yeah.
But right now, they're looking at having close to 500 in attendance of this. And I've been corresponding back and forth with Darwin Ortiz, and he's planning on coming. I know some, like at the SAM convention, had to cancel, and some of the shows were canceled, or some people who had COVID, like I heard that Lucy Darling got COVID, so she had to cancel. Performing, I think Penn and Teller canceled the show. They had to replace it with something else. I talked to Andy Gladwin about that. What happens if you do have some issues? And he said, we got backup plans. So they hope to have somebody or something, I guess, that will take your place.
You know Eric Leclerc?
We'll live a little bit higher, yeah.
Do you know
Yes,
Eric?
I do, Andy Leclerc, yeah.
I was just messaging him the other day. I said, "You coming?" He said, "There's no guarantee I'll get back." So he
You mean
didn't
into
come.
Canada? He's in Canada, is that right?
He's
Yeah,
in Canada.
yeah.
And he did say that he asked me to tell everybody hi.
Yeah.
Sorry he's not there.
Yeah, well, tell him hello. Sorry, yeah, he couldn't make it then either.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to let you get a drink. You look like you need to have something in that other hand over there. All right, let me have Rick Herbert to talk with us. Hey, Rick. Come on over, get a little closer over here so they can see your beautiful, handsome face as well.
I don't know about that.
Jack, come on over.
Don't have your glasses on, do you?
So we got Rick Herbert and also Jack. It's Miller Garner. Garnet?
Garner.
Garner. It's not like Garnier. It's Garner. Okay, it's like not the French pronunciation or whatever. Which I was always going to ask you. I have another friend in Houston whose name is Rick Hebert, and he spells it the same way, but it's French pronunciation. So when first I came in, I thought, oh, that's my friend here in Houston. Then I saw your picture. It's like, that's a different Rick, Herbert. So you pronounce it Herbert.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually bought a French arm chopper off of somebody out in Texas, and he thought that's who he was
same
selling
guy.
it to. Yeah.
And
so
that's funny.
Then I said, well, I'm in Indiana. He said, oh, you're not the same guy that I thought you were then. Yeah. But yeah, it's I just lived down the road about 2 hours over in Indiana. And Jack here, he's from Florida.
Yep.
We're in Florida.
Port St. Lucie.
Fort St. Lucie. I have booked some lectures down that way. I'm going to be coming in 2 weeks to Tampa and Orlando, I think, to lecture, do live lectures, down your way. So did you just fly up yesterday?
Well, we flew up today.
Today, then, just today. And you drove up today, then, too?
I drove up.
Okay, it's just 2 hours. I mean, that's fine. I was just talking to Don and Joyce Weiberg. I don't know if you know them, and also in Chicago. Anyhow, he was saying that they were driving up. It's like a 6-hour drive from Chicago, and they were going to be showing up anytime here.
That's what Gatlinburg's about a 5-hour drive for us. So that's.
Are you going to be going? Speaking of that, you're going to be going then to the Winter Carnival?
We're planning on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you go regularly?
We've been the last 3.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay.
Love it.
This
Yeah.
is my first time to this one.
My first time there too.
Oh, is it? So you really don't know what to expect then necessarily. Okay.
Right. It's
Yeah.
all new to us.
Every convention seems to have its own unique personality, if you will. It seems like that, whether it's an intense on close-up or maybe cards or it may be stage or it's maybe a little bit of everything. And also it has a lot to do with the makeup of the people, I think, as to like sessioning, people, what they're doing and talking about, and the ages of whether it's young people or old people or a mix or whatever.
We actually went down to Ken Scott's Atlanta Harvest
Yes.
earlier this year, or last year, I guess now. But yeah, we really enjoyed that. The first time we've been to that one. It was really interesting. Very good.
Yeah, one of the first Atlanta harvests that I had ever attended was in Atlanta. That would have been back in the 80s sometime. Back when Diane and Maney and her husband, I forgot his name. Anyhow, they since split and then kind of went for a wayside for a while, and then Ken Scott picked it. It's a great convention, though. Again, it's completely different. Have you ever been to either one of you to a national convention like the SAM or the IBM conventions? You have?
It's been a few years ago.
Hold that a little bit closer.
It's been a few years ago.
Which one did you go to?
One in Orlando.
Okay, that would have been the IBM convention.
Yeah, IBM.
Is that right? Yeah. That was a few years ago. I was working with that
I don't remember
one.
what year it was now.
Golly, that would have been 10 years ago?
At least.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. When we had that, I thought that's a heck of a time, or I should say a heck of a place to have a 4th of July weekend convention. I mean, the hottest place and the hottest time of the year. I mean, why wouldn't you have it like in Michigan or someplace, have it in a cooler climate instead of all the way down south and necessarily like that. But anyhow, yeah, that was fun. And you haven't been to another national convention since then?
No.
No? I assume neither of you went to Las Vegas to the SAM convention.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
Yeah, well, there's been a lot of stops and starts and everything, obviously, with COVID, of whether should we go, should we not go, and
Yeah. I used to go regularly to Poland, and I haven't been up there in about 20 years.
20 years, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I kind of got out of Magic for a while. I mean, like a lot of guys do. I was real hot in the 70s and early 80s, and then got married and had kids and kind of dropped out. And Jack got a hold of me and kind of got me interested again.
Now, you guys are so far apart, how did you know each other?
He used to be my assistant.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
I used to help him out on this show.
I used to do school shows.
Did you cut him in half or something, or were you like Siegfried and Roy, or what?
He was he was my ice cream man.
The ice cream man. The white pants, the black stripe, with
Yeah.
the sparkly black jacket. All that. Yeah, I was his helper.
And you did school shows, you said?
I did a lot of school shows, mostly elementary. Just anything, I had quite a bit of stage equipment and stuff, and I really enjoyed it, but like I said, it kind of fell in on the 80s on me, and kids got a little older. And
Yeah, life gets in the way sometimes of this magic thing.
now the kids are all gone.
You circle back.
Come around once a week, and we at going back in magic. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that the podcast has kind of helped you.
Oh yeah, I really enjoy
reacclimate.
podcasts. I found that, and I started from it's probably about 620 or so, and I'm down to because the pod program that I listen to, it starts at the newest and goes down.
Yeah.
So I'm down to about 403, I think now. So I got about another 403.
You got a ways to go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there were some real gems back in there, and of course in the pod letter I sent out each week, I always recommend something from the archives that you can go back and listen to that you may have overlooked, and I try to reach back fairly far to find something in like in the 200s or 300s or something, because still one of my favorites is the one I did with David Stone, probably in the 200s or something, and I'll tell you in advance that it was surprising because David Stone is one of these guys who is very confident and does great magic, and he is an actor as well in movies and stuff like that, as well as a magician, etc. And but he had worked also like in Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo, like on these yachts and things for the wealthy people and everything. And he was telling me about how people used to push him off, said, "You want to see some magic?" Said, "No, here's €100, keep away from us, we don't want to see you." And he kept getting that over and over, and it kind of got to the point where he kind of had a complex about it. And so as we continued talking, I said, "So what is it that you feel like you lack?" I mean, I think you got it all. You've got, a professional career, you got accolades, you won this and that, and all over the world you're well known. And he said, "Confidence." I said, "What?" He lacks confidence. It's just, he trusts himself that it's going to work, but he just, when you walk out, I think that's one of the most difficult things when you walk out on stage as a magician is you have to have confidence to know that you can turn that audience and they're going to want to watch you, whether it's close up or stage.
When you're scared to death, they can tell.
Yeah, you could be a deer in the headlights, and they know a deer in the headlights. Yeah.
Yeah, that's we actually started building some magic too. We do a few things. That
Some woodworking and stuff, you mean?
Yeah, custom stuff, whatever But I've got a laser printer or laser cutter, and so I can let a lot of stuff out on the laser and then glue it all together and make stuff that way.
When we say laser print, you mean like a 3D printer or just a?
It's actually a laser cutter. It uses laser to cut wood.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty cool.
You can design whatever you want. I guess you just have. Is it like a program you download, or you do customize yourself, or how does that work?
I design it on one program, then you send it to another, and then it goes in. It's just like a CNC machine, but it's using the laser to cut. And you can cut just about anything out. You can engrave with it.
That's what I was always seeing and thinking. When I think of laser cutting, I think of like engraving your name or a wedding anniversary or something. You need to grab your beer, Zero. Make sure, yeah.
Yeah, they actually have them strong enough now where they'll cut up to 3/8 and ½ inch wood.
Really?
Yeah, they're really neat.
Now, is it as fast to cut through with laser as it is like with a bandsaw or something, or?
It's probably about the same, maybe a little slower, but it's very accurate. I mean, you can get the same cut. Like, if you want 10 of the same thing, it'll cut 10 of them exactly the same. There's no variations.
And it's going to be very narrow, I would think, as opposed to a bandsaw, you're going to be having whatever.
The curve is so small you can't slide a card through it.
Really? You cannot put a card through it. Wow.
No, it's a pinpoint
Yeah.
laser. It's very sharp. It's pretty cool.
Is that kind of new age woodworking? Do you go to woodworking seminars or classes or conventions?
I've done CNC with CNC router. I've got a CNC plasma cutter, and they're all pretty much the same. They all basically work the same. And so once you learn one, you pretty much fall into the others.
Wow. I've got a lot of friends who are into woodworking. I mentioned Don Weiberg, who was actually past international president of the IBM, and his profession was a woodworking teacher in Chicago. So he
Comes in handy in magic.
It does. Yeah, I think being able to build stuff and everything then too. Yeah. So when you guys were doing your school shows, when did you stop doing school shows?
Probably, let's see, 80, 81, 82.
Okay. I just wondered if you had done it long enough that you could actually tell a difference between this decade versus a different decade and what schools might accept or what they...
Yeah, it's been so long. I've
been out of
back
it.
then I was looking myself, no age or anything. And it was mainly the counties right around where I lived at.
And that's where you lived at the time? Yeah.
Then he decided to move out on me and took off to Florida. And he kept up with magic, and I didn't. So.
Yeah. And then you want to talk you back into it?
Back into
Good
it
for you.
a little bit.
Good for you.
It never left me. I always loved magic. And
Well, I always watched all the shows, TV shows. You know, I never missed a magic show on TV.
Yeah.
They just quit doing stuff, you know. And
Yeah.
now I kind of want to get back into it and start doing shows again. And I'll
Well,
see where
good.
it goes.
Good. Well, good for you. Well, enjoy the convention. Glad that you guys are here. Thank you very much
Nice meeting
for
you, Scott.
joining us. And
Thanks for the podcast. We really enjoy it.
Thank you. I'm glad you do. Thank you, Jack.
Scott. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Appreciate it. Thank you. Glad you guys are listening to the podcast then too. Thanks for coming in. Jania, come on over here.
Okay. $35 without the ties.
Got a microphone there for you too.
What? Oh,
Got-
that's nice.
Yeah, here, set that down.
Oh my God. Dumb mask.
We're not wearing a mask here because
We're
we're
drinking.
we're drinking.
We're
That's right.
drinking.
Here, this is for you.
Oh,
here, I'll
is
tell you what. Yeah, it's. I would pin it. Well, I'm going to pin it on you.
Okay.
Because
Is that like being a
I will.
fraternity?
Yeah, you. But I'm going to have to remember that I don't want you to walk away,
Right.
and yank this computer off.
That would be bad.
That would not be nice. So first of all,
Here we
cheers.
are. Cheers. I'm glad
Thanks,
you're
I'm
here.
so glad to have you here as well.
I'm glad I'm here. Dad didn't come this year. First time in 39 years.
Now he is 89.
He'll be 89 in 2 more weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks.
Right.
So he would celebrate his birthday usually here.
Right. So, but too much Rona. And my mom's still at home with long-term dementia.
You don't mean Corona beer.
Yeah, right. No.
You mean like a China virus, like
Right,
COVID?
like Wuhan.
Yeah,
Wuhan
that's right.
virus.
Okay.
And you don't want to take anything to the house because my mom's still at home. And
Yeah.
he'll wait another time.
So you don't live that far away as far as driving down from Michigan. You're northern Michigan.
No, I'm
actually,
northern
from
Michigan here.
So how long does it take to get here?
We'll do Michiganders always
know.
have your
Yeah.
map. I'm up here, the tip of the mitt. So it's 4.5 hours to my parents' house, my hometown of Archibald, Ohio, which is out of sight of Toledo.
And Toledo would be where on there?
And yeah, Toledo's like down here.
way down there, okay.
Oh, down here. This is the thumb, yeah. And then it's another 3 hours to Columbus. So I spend
Okay.
the night and break up.
So you drove so far, then spend the night, and drive the rest of
And
the
then I
way.
do the same thing returning.
Do you stop along the way at a friend's house, or some people you know, or you just go to a hotel, whatever?
I don't have to.
What?
I don't have to. I mean, it's 4.5 hours to my parents' house.
Oh, okay. So the parents. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I got
and
you.
then I spend the night with them, and then 3 hours from.
Okay,
So I
gotcha.
do spend the night with at somebody.
Someplace, yeah.
Someplace.
Yeah, gotcha. I also wanted to mention, for those of you who may not have been following Jania on Facebook then as well, about the tie that she's wearing. You want to talk a little bit about your...
This is Paul.
cravat?
This is Paul Emick's
Emick.
tie, and for those of you that know Paul Emick, he passed April 1st.
2021?
Last year.
21.
April 1st of 2021. Right.
He was here last year.
He was here 2020, the very last one.
The last, well, we
Yeah.
had it in September. He wouldn't have been there, but he was in 2020.
Right. So he was here at the last January one.
Yes,
2020,
right.
and
right,
then he
right.
passed
And that was like a heart attack?
Well,
He was very young. I mean, he was like 50?
55.
5, okay.
55, and he pretty much ignored all the signs of a heart attack. Didn't go to the doctor and kaput. So always go to the doctor if you think you're having a heart
So
attack.
that's kind of what the bottom line we're trying to say to people. Yeah,
Right.
you should do
Don't
that.
ignore it. Don't think
Yeah.
it's heartburn or something else.
Could be a lot more serious than what you might think it is.
So all of his ties, though, he had numerous, lots of ties because he was a
He was on-
weatherman.
he was on television
TV,
all the time.
right.
That was his job, yeah.
Right. He worked for the Weather Channel for a couple of years, and then other news, weather stations or TV stations. So all of his ties went home from the Abbott Magic Get Together with Bill Cook, and Bill
Yep.
Cook's mom is making a quilt for Bob Brisendine's daughter. So Bob Brizendine is Paul's best friend,
Yeah.
and Chase, his daughter, Paul was her godfather. So, you found all that?
No, I've been on a couple
Okay,
martinis
you
over
make-
here.
drink more and
but
you'll
the
catch
people
up
out
with
there
you.
may not be drinking as
The
much
moral
as...
of the story is we loved Paul Emick.
That's right.
That's
Matt
the moral.
Stanley,
And
here he
his
is.
card was a 6 of hearts. That's why I'm sporting a 6 of hearts. Right heart. Do you know the
That's all
story?
There you go, Matt.
I know the story.
Tell the
Thank
right
you.
story. I want to know because I don't know if I'm telling it right.
Okay, so the story
Oh,
goes.
he needs to be hear this too, so you're going to have to hold this then.
Okay.
All right. So the story goes that Paul Emick
he went to a magic lecture, and I'm wanting to say it was in Atlanta, but don't quote me on that. I think that part is incorrect. But he went to a magic lecture, and there was a lecturer that spoke upon the high probability of if you have someone name a card, of it being a specific card. So like they
Ace
said,
of spades or something.
right, exactly. Like a male would maybe say ace of spades, female may say
of hearts.
queen of hearts. Now, which we've all heard of that, but this kind of dug a little bit more deeper into that, and it was more like if you had someone name a number card.
Okay.
So if you went to a female, the probability of her naming a red card was high because it's just black is dirty and and that kind of thing. And then obviously with hearts or diamonds,
There's been a lot of studies done on all this.
there's a higher probability
Yeah.
of hearts.
Right.
And then if you say between like an ace and a 10, then for some reason they kind of naturally may go more towards 6. So you end up with a 6 of hearts. So this lecturer did this whole thing, on this. So Paul Emick, he decided that he was going to put a 6 of hearts.
Stay with us.
Yeah, stay with us. He was going to put he was going to put a 6 of hearts everywhere. So under the visor of his car, in the jacket pocket of every sport coat he owned, in his wallet, he had a 6 of hearts everywhere. So that way he could go up to any female and say, "Hey, name a card. Not a high card, not a low card, somewhere in the middle.
Not the obvious card.
Not the And then he would even go. A lot of people would say ace of spades. They may say queen of hearts, but somewhere in the middle of that. Don't go there. So based on this probability, it should be the 6 of hearts, and he wants to be able to go bam, pull down the visor of the car, bam, that kind of thing.
How often does that work?
So he tried it with every date that he had for like 8 years.
So 3 times.
And never once. Yeah, all 3 times it failed. And so finally some friends played a prank on him, and he did it in a restaurant
Set
for a
them all up,
waitress.
yeah.
And, and he was like, I told you that would work. And he's like, well, actually, when you got up to pee,
We told him.
we told the waitress, I'll give you $10 if when he asks you a card, you say 6 of hearts. So.
And then in Poland.
And that lady was Jania, and now she's a magician, not a server anymore.
Right.
No longer a servant. Now, ski patrol person.
One of Paul's 3 dates, no.
Yeah.
But then in Poland, Michigan, the magic capital of the world.
Hold it up.
And there, we have our own Magic Walk of Fame. And we bought a star for Paul, and underneath that star is a 6 of hearts too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but under the concrete and
Right.
everything, and under the stars. Very cool.
Is he going to be buried, or has he been buried in Colon?
He's buried in Owensboro, Kentucky, next to his dad and his mom on the family plot.
Because I know a lot of us have headstones in Colon, with cards
Right.
on there.
Yeah.
And I say mine is the 8 of diamonds.
I've yet to buy my real estate, but I.
What's your card, by the way? Every magician has a card.
Really? The Queen of Hearts.
No, seriously. You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know
You have a
that.
card, don't you?
Well, see, my thing is this sounds egotistical, but I performed in comedy clubs. I have for like 15 years.
Yeah.
So my card's the king of clubs.
Perfect.
That's
Yeah, I love that.
perfect.
Sure.
Okay, now I'm.
No, like the Penn and Teller, like 3 of clubs. I mean, you ask
Yeah.
most everybody, they got, what? You don't have a card?
So Ski Patrol.
Because the cool thing about this is whenever you're performing, like with other magicians, they are across the room or whatever, and you have a card forced on someone over here, and then the other person say, hey, do you know what card he'd selected? And, well, they know what my card is, and you'll say, hey, it's the 8 of diamonds. So
okay.
like that person is reading.
So everybody's on it.
Yeah.
So yours is the king of
Yeah, because they know if you know what your card is, you need to get a card.
Okay, I'm going to think about this because that would be creative.
But there are a lot of reasons why you want to get the card. I mean, there are some reasons why I chose an 8, and I'm not going to get into all that right now. But one thing could be, obviously, when you're signing a card, if it's a red card, it's easier to sign.
Right.
Also, if something has got a lot of space, I mean, like a 3 of clubs, like Penn and Teller, you could have some space. So it could be like a 2 of hearts or something like that would be an easy one where you'd have some space. But that may or may not necessarily be the case why you want that. It could be the Jack of spades or whatever it happens to be, for something that means something to you. But the 8 of diamonds means something to me.
You look like a 5 of hearts to me.
Really?
We should maybe choose a card for her. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe we should. Maybe at random.
At random?
That's how.
Okay.
Okay. Let's get a deck of cards. Here, I'll hold this. Here, you hold it. I got my own microphone over here. Okay.
right.
We're going to select a card for
will be-
Jania
be
that
my card
forever,
for life?
forever in her life. You don't have to get a
6 of
tattoo.
hearts. Make it be the 6 of hearts.
You don't. You don't have to get a tattoo or anything.
Oh, good. Yeah.
All right, here we
Ready?
go.
Ready? It's not like a one-way forcing deck or anything.
Well, not that you know.
Okay. Okay. My card is the 3.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
Crazy.
3 of spades.
Clubs.
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 3 clubs. 3 clubs.
3 of clubs.
Okay, I'm good.
Or is it?
The 3 of spades.
Oh. Now you see, Penn and Teller's a 3 of clubs, so you could be the queen of clubs.
There you go.
If he's the king of clubs,
Oh, look at that.
The tree of clubs.
the tree of clubs. So what do you want, B?
The tree of diamonds.
I want to be the. I'll be the 3 of clubs.
Okay, that's your card.
That's my
So
card.
if you see Jania sometime,
Hopefully she'll remember her own card.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Have another drink.
I called it a spade.
so is this jacket also his or something?
No,
Or-
no, just the.
Just the tie.
Just the tie.
And the card.
Hey, while we have everyone here, Wonderbash.
That's right. I talked to Trino on the way down.
Talk about it.
Wonderbash is a convention. Trino is putting on in Grand Rapids, Michigan in April. Awesome lineup: Mario the Maker Magician, Dan Sperry, Trent James. There's like a lot of people. Paige, Paige Thompson, Luis Carrion.
That's
Who
a
else is
package deal there.
Yeah, that's a package deal. That's
Was
a
Mario
twofer.
and his wife also going to be?
Maybe. And then there's a juggler, and there's a lot of stuff. It's the Wealthy Theater in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The hotel, I'm drawing a blank on, but
Is it 2
go
days?
to it. 2.5.
He's
I think.
using the Amway Grand Downtown Grand Rapids. It's a beautiful hotel.
Yeah. And what's the website? It's like
Wonderbash.com.
No, that's not it.
Too easy.
We should know this. It's not on my shirt, is it?
I know. Why is
No,
the
it's
date?
not.
The date's not on there either.
Well, the T-shirt, you know.
This is morethantricks.com. Morethantricks.com. I knew it was something.
Not with an
clever.
X, but actually.
And the
yeah,
last
see
I
that.
read, there was less than 100 registrations still available.
Wonderbash, that's it right there. That one. More. That's got a glare, but
I know.
Anyway.
It's easy
Wonderbash.
to remember Wonderbash.
More Than Tricks. April 21st through the 23rd in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
And maybe the snow will be melted by then.
It should be.
Or we could have a snowstorm.
Do you have snow on your back deck yet? Like, are we doing a contest this year?
Right now, it's not worthy of a contest. We have not had a good snowstorm yet. We've had 1 inch, 3 inches. We had 8 inches. It all melted. So
Yeah.
it's not even worthy for a snow melt contest yet.
How much snow have you had in Texas? Probably not much.
We've had somewhere between 0 and nothing.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Lucky
Yeah,
you.
Somewhere around there.
Whenever I left, it was 78 degrees.
But you've been in Europe. or-
You're a skier.
Well,
Where you been?
yeah,
You've been everywhere.
I've been nationwide and worldwide.
And worldwide.
In fact, I was notified that Google said since June, between June and November, I had traveled 1.3 times around the circumference of the world. So I have like 32,000 miles that I've traveled between June because I went to Colon,
Right.
for
Right.
the get together.
That's a long
And then
trip.
one thing after another, I went to
Paris.
out to South Carolina for a show. I had then tricks at North Carolina and Vegas a couple of times, for a wedding, and I was performing out there, and then of course to Paris, so a little bit at a time.
So in like
it all
9
mounts
months'
up.
time, you've been around the world 3 times?
No, 1.3.
Oh, okay.
1.3 times, because around the world is 25,000 miles.
Okay.
So it was just 1.3 times around, but I continued then in December to travel a little bit more, not as much as I was, but added another 1,000 miles or so. But so here I am now in Columbus, and I got other plans. Where was I? I'm planning on going next to Florida. I'm doing a lecture tour there. I'm going to stay with Tom Borjahan for a week, and
Oh, that'll be fun.
God have mercy on your soul.
That'll be fun.
that should be some fun. And
Yes, fun.
then when I get back, I'm heading to Burbank, California for the recording of the Masters Illusion for this new
cool.
season. Were you on that?
I haven't been.
No? Okay. I think I recommended you, though.
But he should be.
Yeah.
So should Jania.
That's mattstanley.com. Info at mattstanley.com.
Unfortunately, you and I are out of their demographic.
Why is that? Because we're too old. Oh,
We're too
we're
old.
too mature. We're too mature.
Yeah. I don't even know if they're going to be able to use me as a volunteer because it's like, who's that old guy up on the stage? But their issue is, they're going to be able to they got to comply with CDC guidelines just as they are here, of course. And so they either may not have an audience, or I'm going to be in the same hotel, so I'm going to be in this bubble basically. So I'll have an opportunity to kind of do podcasts with these folks, but I'm not going to be able to be on stage necessarily
That's how
with
they're
them.
doing it now. They fly them out a couple days early,
Right.
and they test them, and they are in the hotel in a bubble and all that kind
That's
of
right.
stuff. Yeah.
So I'm going to go out there. My plan is to be with them for 3 or 4 days, and in the evenings either recording something or go to the Magic Castle, which I understand, by the way, that Max Maven's going to be getting be inducted into the Hall of Fame, SAM Hall of Fame.
He's got one.
I got one.
Oh,
He's
you
got
got
his
that.
own. He's
That's right,
special.
That's right.
You
Got
have
my
to
own,
share.
my own microphone. So yes, they. I understand. So it's going to be sometime around that time, and if I happen to be there, I'm going to go to his dinner. I think that'd be fine.
So we went out to California for a friend's wedding between Christmas and New Year's of this year.
Yep.
And I'm a Castle member and have been for since 2006, 2008, somewhere in there. And I don't get to, as a out-of-state member, I don't get to go that often. So I was really looking forward to it. And we had a big group of people. We were going to take the bride and groom.
I think
for the
I hear where
wedding,
this is going.
And that was our, our wedding gift to them. Is that we were going to take care of that, their meal and all that kind of stuff and drinks, and then some other family members of hers. And then 6 days before we go out there, we find out that the castle is closing that week because of too many COVID cases. And I'm like, so that was my first time in 2 years that I was going to be able to go and utilize my membership and
show the castle off,
show
right?
the castle off and stuff like that. And then it's like, nope, you're not doing that. So
What a bummer.
so yeah, they owe me money, is what I'm saying. That you get MattStanley.com info at Matt Stanley.
And
You
your
can contact me.
PayPal is?
My PayPal.
Well, speaking of COVID and all that, what have you guys been doing the last couple of years as far as shows and regular companies?
Teaching ski lessons.
Doing what?
Teaching ski lessons.
Ski lessons, yep. Mm-hmm.
Summer wasn't bad. My summer came back really good.
Yeah.
You
do the fairs and
this
that kind of
last,
thing?
well, I do more festivals than fairs.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and I do their weekly busking events in northern Michigan in 2 different towns. So a lot of them were outside. So the majority of mine came back this summer, but then I didn't even try to book a school show. I wasn't even going to waste my time. So that's why I'm teaching.
It could all fall through in 2 days time,
Right. So I didn't put the effort into it, and I've taught ski lessons for the last 10 seasons, so I have that to rely on.
Yeah. I did a lot of virtual shows
Did you?
in 2021, or I'm sorry, 2020 rather, and then by 2021, in late 2020, some stuff started to come back. I guess in 2021 I did a lot of virtual stuff too, but I do a lot of cruise ships, so
It's kind of been on hold, I imagine.
yeah,
right?
it was a a tough. I think I had 7 weeks worth of cruise work just cancel
There
overnight.
were so many people I
I
talked to who just went to zero
Right.
overnight,
Yeah. Yeah.
And so some are starting back, but even so, it's kind of start and stop. It's kind of,
So I've done 9 cruises since September.
oh, that's good.
That's not bad.
But I went to get on a ship at the beginning of the year and tested positive for COVID and had to quarantine for 5 days in a hotel in Florida.
Florida?
So,
Yeah.
It's just you never know.
How did you
But
feel, though?
I had no symptoms. I'm vaccinated and boosted.
Yeah,
so.
but you had to be tested, and it showed positive. Sometimes I wonder if those are like false positives.
Well,
you
and there's always the possibility for that. Now, the cruise industry has, it was affected very hard, so they've been very good about testing. So me as a guest entertainer, they test me before I board, and then in the beginning when I first came back, they would test me before I boarded, and then every 3 days.
Yeah.
That turned into every 2 days, and then it turned into every day. So this one, I tested negative, or if I would have tested negative.
just for the entertainers, not for the passengers, though.
Not for the passengers, no. Passengers have to have, in most cases, need to be vaccinated.
Yeah.
And then need to have a negative test within 72 hours.
Before they depart.
Before they depart, yes.
Yeah.
But then they're not tested on the ship unless they have symptoms. Me as a guest entertainer, had I tested negative,
You move closer to the camera over here. You guys have
No,
like
and my glass.
all of a sudden, yeah, your
like in the middle
martini
of the
is like
street out there.
all of a sudden.
had I tested negative, then I would have gotten on the ship, and then I would have been. It was a 2-week contract, so 2 cruises. So I would have been tested daily for the first week, and then every 2 or 3 days, depending on what the doctor on the ship's recommendation was after that. But that's considering that I'm vaccinated and boosted.
Right.
And, so it's still very strict. So a lot of the cruise industry's gotten a bad rap, but it's they are really taking precautions. They're fogging and sanitizing and everything like that. So, but apparently I have like this super immunity now since I had a breakthrough case. So, I can like lick doorknobs and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then I can touch them.
You're right.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about you. But
Are they filling the ships to capacity or like half?
So, to give you an example, I was on, in November, I was on a ship twice, the same ship, but I was on for a week, off for a week, on for a week. The first week that I was I'm sorry, this is December, but the first week I was on, it was at about 60% capacity. The second time I was on, I think it was about 147% capacity. So, I think it depends on, that was closer to Christmas.
Oh,
So I think
right.
that
The busy season, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it was definitely obvious that it was more full. I talked to Bill Cook the other day. He's on a Royal Caribbean ship. The ship he's on, I think the capacity is around 3,000, 3,500 people. And there are like 600 people on board.
And that's all they want.
And that's I don't know if that's all they want or if that is just the number that they can book. But that is a 14-day cruise, so it's a little. You narrow your margin of people that can do a 14-day cruise. It's to people that can take work off that long or
Right,
retired
2 weeks,
or
right.
whatever. That's a long time to be gone. So yeah. So but it's 600 people on a ship that normally has 3,000, 3,500, maybe even more than that. Like he said, it's just eerie.
It would be strange.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's empty.
Right.
Compared
it
to
may as well be empty.
yeah.
Honestly, at
So
that
what
point.
about in the main theaters that normally would seat, let's say, 1,000 people? Are they like 6 feet apart, or different chairs in between them? Or?
They let people seat themselves. In some cases, they do more shows to accommodate, so people can, instead of doing like 2 seatings for a theater show, they might do 3.
3 or 4.
To kind of space that out and give people more time. See, as a magician, that's a really hard thing. It's like the shows, we have to do 45-minute shows, which, is not the easiest thing in the world. But now you have to do that 2 different 45-minute shows, and they both have to be 100% contactless. You can't
Contactless.
Wow, no audience volunteers.
You can't bring anyone on stage. You can't borrow an object from the audience. Nothing. So it's an entirely
That's a
different
challenge.
ballgame out there. So just having 2 solid 45-minute shows is tough. But now it
has to be contactless.
Now you're tying one of your hands behind your back.
Yeah. Yeah, your show, probably a lot like mine, is dependent upon a lot of audience participation.
Absolutely.
And by having someone, because the audience reacts to this person reacting,
Right.
and you get to see their smile or their reaction or whatever. And so if you're unable to do that, well, one thing comes to mind would be, I would think, like The Stranger, where you're calling someone on the phone. Have you ever tried that, or can you do that on stage? At ships?
I have done it on the ship.
Yep.
I've done it more
Hey,
often.
ma'am.
Send up a
Can I
flare.
get a martini, another Grey
Two.
Goose? Grey Goose, yeah. Twist, lemon twist, you got it.
You know what I drink? Order one for me, please.
Oh, you ready for another?
Yes.
And she'll have I think she'll have the gin,
Bombay.
Bombay gin, with olives.
And the 3 of clubs.
And the 3 of clubs. You do remember your card.
Nice for now.
For now, right. So in a way, since you had virtual experience, it's like
Right,
doing
it
a live
did-
virtual show.
And that's what I tell a lot of people. It did help me prepare for it because it really makes you have to interact with people, but not be able to hand them something or get
Right.
something from them. So it kind of makes you think outside of the box on that. So I do think that that's helped prepare me for it.
I've
for
done
sure.
some retirement communities, homes.
Yeah,
you
that's
know.
the same thing as a virtual show.
It is.
They're,
You can
no reaction there either.
Well, you kind of hope they do. Oh,
Yeah.
But they, whenever I would ask someone, it's like, just name a card, instead of picking a card, I mean, obviously those kinds of things that you're doing from a distance instead of having somebody, up there,
Right.
so.
Yeah, absolutely. So
What's your favorite trick that you do virtually?
my favorite trick I do virtually is it's a play on the Master Prediction, but I use Josh Janowski's. It might be just called the Instagram prediction, but it's Josh Janowski's principle of doing.
Explain that to me and other.
Josh Janowski is a great magician from Florida. He lives in Canada now. He's an animator for movies in Hollywood, and it's awesome. But essentially, like Master Prediction would be you get several pieces of information, and then maybe you have like a chest that's been, or an envelope that's been suspended, and you bring that down, and now you read that out loud, and you would say, oh, you would go on a date with, Tom Cruise, and you would eat steak, and the bill would be this amount, right? So essentially, I do that type of thing, but it's on an Instagram post that's dated at least 3 days in advance of the show.
You then go.
So then
send them to your.
So I send everyone to my Instagram for the reveal. So instead of the reveal being something I do with an envelope and show, now it's say, hey, everyone go to @MDS Comedy Magic.
They're sitting in their phone in their seat, and they can
now
look
they're
at it.
sitting in their seat. They pull out their phone because they're on their laptop, and now they go, I know this sounds it says, I know this sounds really weird, but I knew that Ian would go out on a date with Scarlett Johansson, and they would have the favorite, Scarlett's favorite meal of sushi in Columbus, Ohio, and the bill would only be $26.44. And they go on, and it's predated 3,
couple days
5,
earlier.
6 days in advance of it. And
It's called a Master
with
Prediction?
the picture.
Yeah.
Well, it's not called the Master Prediction would be like Doug Malloy's system.
Yeah.
That's what he goes with, like the box.
Right.
So it's that principle, but instead of me doing a reveal
in the box.
Live.
in the
They can do it
box
in their-
or live, I say, hey, everyone. I have an envelope, has a question mark on it.
Now, a lot of people who go on your cruises, I mean, whenever I do summits on Silver Seas, it's an older crowd. I go Instagram, they go, what?
Right.
So, plus also there's
Well,
an internet issue.
This is virtual shows.
Oh, I'm talking about virtual. Sorry.
Yeah, that was the question you
Gotcha.
asked me.
Yes, I did ask you that. Then next, I was going to ask you about cruises. Since you have to do contactless, what do you do?
Well, I rely a lot more on doing comedy stuff. I do about 10 minutes.
So you're really funny?
Well, I try to be, I mean, my mom says I am.
Well, it's funny looking.
At
and
3
it's
in the
funny.
morning after a couple of bourbons, he's real funny. Oh wait, no, Rye. You're a Rye guy.
I am a right. This looks like Starbucks. So on a ship, I rely a lot more on doing humor type stuff.
Okay.
Some
Well, I would think so.
some
When I
of the
talked
lines-
with some of the bookers, they were saying, if you were a comedian, I could book you all day long, but magic is harder to book.
It is. And so a lot of times when I do ships, they'll book me into the comedy club room because I can do kind of both. Both avenues, but really rely on.
Do you go to clubs? I mean, you say you king of clubs, so you do go to a lot of clubs. Do you incorporate a lot of magic, or do you try to do just straight stand up and holding the mic?
No, I'm a comedy magician, but I mean, so I do a lot of magic in the
Prop
show.
stuff.
But I do 8 to 10 minutes of straight stand up front before I do any magic because I need to.
Prove your credentials as a magician.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is the way I get into the first trick is very sneaky. It's not like it's over before they realize I just did a magic trick for the first thing that I do. So it's all part of a joke that leads into it, and instead of leading to a punchline of a joke, it's now the finale to a magic trick. And then it gets such a great reaction that now I can just hit them with magic and comedy now, and it's
Wow.
It's a different
Yeah.
a different thing. But I did find by having straight stand up material up front before I do any magic is a big a big thing for sure.
As opposed to doing comedy and then kind of bringing in, then get people laughing and then do magic.
Or
You do
coming
magic-
up and immediately doing a magic trick, or and I'm not saying that my formula is right, but
Yeah,
it's just
it works for you.
It works for me.
Yeah.
It may not work for for everyone. But
What you're doing over at festivals and everything, I guess, are you doing much comedy?
I do. Yeah, comedy shtick, and I did Contact all summer long.
And
You know, audience participation.
Alrighty, here we go.
Hey, there you are.
I'll trade you this empty one. How are you doing over there?
I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Here is yours. I assume that they didn't have blue cheese
No,
stuff.
bummer,
I should have stuffed my own.
Yeah,
Once
I'm-
again, do we just?
Yeah,
can we
she
put it-
should have.
I should.
Yeah, you brought those in the past for me. You brought some stuffed olives. And
I know, and I thought about it, and I just didn't get it accomplished. And I'm like, I thought, hey, a fancy downtown Columbus
Cheers to you.
hotel, they would have
Cheers to
fancy
anybody
blue
else who
cheese.
happens to have a drink out there watching.
You know, figured fancy hotel would have blue cheese olives, but
Well, that was your
I
mistake.
was
You
wrong.
assumed this was a fancy
I know.
hotel.
This is a good hotel as far as the Renaissance. Where they've had this the Worthington, which was a Marriott, which was nice, kind of in one of the suburbs, but this is right downtown, in the middle of everything. And so you got like a good pizza place across the street over there, the Ohio.
This is good. And there's a Starbucks.
Is there a Mitchell?
Starbucks across the street. It's
Where's
like
it?
they thought
Where's
was
it
a
at?
thing.
Right, over there, right over there.
Right there in the corner too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I was talking about doing festivals and things you do. I know you have a character. So this is like a steampunk character. I've seen you like with a hat or what?
Well, I
is
have a
it?
couple of characters. I have my Charmin Jay character, which is an 1800s magician, which started out because I was got a call one day to work the longest running festival in Ohio, which is called Yankee Peddler. It is a
Take one. Oh, you take one too. I was
1776
gonna say you didn't-
festival.
Yes, you're welcome.
It's it's like a Renaissance festival but in 1776.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, sure, I can do that. The old J. Marshall line. Oh, I can do that.
Never say no.
Yeah, and now I'm like, I have to put together an 1800s show, no plasticky, moderny looking props, dressing costume. And she's kind of evolved because this will be my 16th year. The festival takes place this year because it's kind of on, I hate to say this, it's kind of on life support right now. It's kind of a dying festival, unfortunately.
Is it because of COVID, or is it
No,
just because
no.
the organizers are not?
No, it's because
as
it's a juried show, and all the vendors are dying, and
and they're not getting new vendors
and
coming
yeah,
in.
and the children don't want to give up every weekend selling their pottery or their candles or what have you. And it's a tough festival too because it's 3 consecutive weekends in a row, and you have to be in costume.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of the vendors are finding, well, I can do this show and just make the same amount of money that I do in 3 weekends, and I don't have to be in costume. So that's why it's kind of a dying festival, unfortunately.
Oh.
So I have that. And she does kind of look like the steampunk because I have a top hat, and
So what's the other character you have?
and then for Halloween, I'm Wanda the Wacky Witch. This is children's show, and Christmas is Christmas Carol, and they're all Christmas themed show, Halloween themed show, costume, witch costume, anything to buy a costume.
Well, that's like with Trixie Bond. Trixie was like a Mary Poppins.
Yeah,
type
that's what I would
character.
think of when I saw
Yeah.
Trixie. It was like Mary Poppins.
And then she has recently become Mrs. Claus. So
And
around
she's a
Christmas,
great
got
Mrs. Claus.
Yeah, great Mrs. Claus. Yeah, she's got the backdrop and everything then too. We're going to talk a lot more about this in detail. We can sit down and actually do a one-on-one longer episode for the podcast rather than doing something over
Right.
here, for the just this
and we'll be sober.
as well. So this time we promise we will.
Yes.
You guys will never hear the last one we did. So this has been Magi Fest. You've been attending for a long number of years, and you usually attend with your dad. Like you said, he's not
Right.
here this year, but he'll be soon turning 89, and so we say hello to him if he
Hi,
happens to
Ross.
be out there. And so what is it about this convention? I mean, is it because that it's nearby, or what was it that first brought you to come into the Magi Fest?
Well, because it was nearby. I grew up in Ohio. I grew up in northwestern Ohio. The short story, I'll tell the long story at the podcast.
Okay.
But the short story was my dad goofed around with magic, got reinterested as an adult, and took me to Abbott's when I was home for college break, winter break, because I was going to Ohio University. He found out about the Magi Fest. I brought the bus up from Ohio University because it's in Athens, Ohio, which is an hour and a half south of Columbus, and I was hooked then.
Okay.
But now they're going to have to listen to the podcast to get the
hear
rest of the story.
That's the rest of the story. That's right. But that was the first convention.
Yeah, that was Yeah, that was my first convention. It was my first
Yeah.
Magi Fest,
Yeah.
and then after that came the get together.
Yeah,
and
there's so much more I want to talk to you about on the podcast, which is going to be about the lectures that you've been having as far as like promotional material and things, and perhaps how that may have changed with the social media and different things that you're doing, then now. Let me ask you something important. That is about stuffing olives with blue cheese. Now, do you just get the regular olives that have pimentos and you pop them out, and since it's got a hole, then or what do you do actually? How do you get the inside tip on how to make actually olive?
And I got the big
blue cheese
inside
olives?
tip from a fabulous bartender in northern Michigan at this nice restaurant called the New York Restaurant. I find the biggest olives I can, and sometimes they have pimentos in them, sometimes they don't. But if they have the pimentos, I take a toothpick and pull them out. Then if you wear,
Is it like at the grocery store, like
yeah,
Kroger's
yeah,
or something?
yeah, just I look for
But
the.
do you go through the olive bar, or do you buy a
No,
jar of
I
olives?
buy the jar.
Jar,
But
okay,
I look for the biggest olives
in the jar.
in the jar, and then I use like those sanitary surgical gloves because blue cheese is sticky.
Yeah.
And it won't stick. It sticks to the glove, but if you do it with your fingers, it gets frustrating. It's all over your fingers and it's
Okay.
sticky. And I just
Just keep
jamming
jamming
it in there, and that's it. And
Now-
actually, the guy at the New York Restaurant, he used a pastry bag. He put the blue cheese.
Oh, and
in
he
a
would
pastry.
squeeze the thing.
Yeah.
Yep, well, that makes sense too. So now the question is about the type of blue cheese. There are so many different, Roquefort and different types of blue cheese. Is there a specific type, or you just go to the grocery and say, "Give me blue cheese"?
Yep, I just go to the grocery and I buy like the that you would sprinkle on a salad because it's easier to stuff in. I don't buy a hunk of
You don't
blue
buy a
cheese.
hunk.
No.
You buy the crumbled.
Yeah, the crumbled because it's easier to stuff in.
Okay.
Because it's
Okay.
already crumbled, you can just keep jamming those little crumbles in.
Yeah. All right. Well, now while we're on recipes, is there anything in particular? I know that Harriet Jacobson is listening, and she's working on this.
That's right.
That's right. She's working on a recipe book that's going to be sponsored by
The American Museum of Magic.
Do you have anything that you're going to be contributing to that?
I am the newest board member, believe it or not.
You are? Well,
Yes.
congratulations.
Thank you. So last summer I became
Next
the
week,
newest
I'm going to
board
be
member.
releasing an episode with Jeffrey Allen, who is
Right, he's
one
on
of
the board too,
yeah.
and he's a go-getter for the museum.
Yeah.
And Harriet is putting together a cookbook called The Magician in the Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I did submit a recipe, and she's hoping. I think the deadline might be over.
no.
No, is it February?
I'm hoping not, because
Maybe it's February.
I'm hoping it's February.
And the thing is, make sure you. I didn't know I should take a picture when I made my.
Yeah, you're supposed to take a picture of you
And
making it
and I
what
didn't,
after it's made.
and I didn't because I
Make it again.
I know I submitted a.
What'd you make?
It's a sausage strudel. That's
Sausage strudel.
that's.
Is it a breakfast?
Nope,
Yeah.
it's for dinner, and it's easy to make, and I always made it for like Christmas Eve or New Year's Eve dinner. And
So
I
it's
made
a
it.
one-pot dinner. I mean,
Yeah, and I made it for Christmas Eve dinner, and then I submitted my recipe. I filled out the application, like but I can make it again because it's tasty. It's easy.
So it's like a souffle, not a souffle, but really.
No, it's phyllo dough. You put layers of phyllo dough
Oh,
and
okay.
butter in
sausage.
between each layer, and
Kind of like lasagna.
yeah, in a way. And then you make up your sausage mixture and roll it up and bake it. And,
So you're rolling it up like a tortilla or
or
something.
no, you roll it up almost
Or
like
enchilada.
a pumpkin roll. If you know what
Pumpkin
a
roll?
pumpkin, what a pumpkin
No,
roll is.
no.
So shoot.
Is that a Michigan thing?
No, maybe it's a Midwest thing. It's a dessert. It's like like muffin based, I would say, consistency. But then you make this cream cheese filling. So you have the pumpkin. It's flat and thin.
Okay.
And you spread the cream
Like a
cheese
flan
mixture
or-
on it. Yeah.
Okay.
No, then you roll it up. So then it's a log. It's like a Yule log.
Okay.
And that's the same thing with the sausage strudel. You kind of roll it up so that's the.
Is it an ethnic dish, like a German dish?
No,
or
actually, I found it.
Czechoslovakian,
I
or-
found it reading Midwest Living years ago, and it looked good and it
you
tasted
tried
good.
it, and it's
right,
part of your- one of your
and
staples.
basically the inside is, we use a lot of venison. So I use venison in place of ground beef.
Is your husband a
Yes.
hunter?
He's a hunter.
Okay, so he brings home
Right,
the beef,
right.
the deer.
And we process our own deer,
Huh?
And so we make Italian sausage. So I use that, but it's a venison
Yeah.
Italian sausage. And then it has like mushrooms in it and cream cheese, and you spread it on top of your phyllo dough and just roll it up. So it's like a log.
There you go. There you
I
go.
know, I don't have a picture.
Hey, how to do that. That's been
So-
great. Well, listen, thank you very much. I think we kind of started to reach
I
that
know what time
point.
was the lecture.
It's going to start here within, within a half hour.
Half
so
an
we
hour.
Probably need to start to wrap this up. So
Okay.
Thank you very much, Jamie.
Thank you, Scott. It's always nice to have
Thank you, Matt.
martinis with
Yes,
you.
well, as always, it's we're going to have to take a selfie or something and
I
also
know.
to post
No,
this as well.
always.
Cheers to you.
It's like another tradition.
It has been, and glad you guys can make it then also. So thank you guys very much for joining us over here for Magic and Martini's virtual happy hour on Thursday, as it happens to be. Is last year Saturday we had a few more people, I think, last September we had more people than we had here, but I
You did,
think
because I watched it. You had a good crowd.
we did have a good crowd, and there were a few people here, but not as many as what we had last time, and so I think it's just, perhaps that's indicative of what's going to be happening. I'm guessing there are not going to be as many people necessarily. Now, I saw Steve Chesaday had just posted something where he's already at the Skyline Chili, so he's already done that without me, and so I'm going to have
go back.
I'm going to go back. I used Matt Stanley's car last time to go and have it, so I'm going to have to go and do it. Maybe eating by myself again. Matt, am I going to be going to? Am I going to be going to Skyline Chili by myself again this year?
We could probably plan a time if we know more in advance. Yeah,
Okay.
Skyline.
I would go for lunch. Where's the closest one? Is there one downtown?
There's one. It's about 15 minutes away. Isn't it?
It was about 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
We can plan on that tomorrow at lunch, maybe.
That's good with me.
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. We got a plan, over there.
I live near Skyline, but I never turned down any opportunity to go.
So there we go. Listen, thank you guys very much for joining us. I hope that all this worked well. You could hear us. The microphone and everything was working well. The video as well. So I appreciate it. Oh, I just got a text over here from somebody. Let's see who was saying that. So that was from Alon New, asking if I'm at Magic Fest. So never mind, it's not him. So until next time, and I hope that you will go back to the Magic Word podcast. We'll be recording some conversations here this evening and post something late tonight, which will be today's broadcast that we will let go. And so until next time, this is Scotty out.